Namaskar dear friends, and welcome to the fifth video of the first chapter of the first unit of the biology. The chapter is the living world. In the previous four videos we have already seen about the previous part, and here this is the last video where we are going to study about the taxonomical aids. Previous four video is already there on the YouTube. You can go through it and you can give the suggestion, you can go through it, learn it, and whatever the queries you are having, you can send it in the chat box or you can write as a comment. Now, from this part onward, we are moving to the study of the taxonomical aids. So, welcome to the Vigyan with Vishal Muliya. Welcome to the Biology by Vishal Muliya. Welcome. Dear friends, taxonomic study of the various species of plant and animals and other organisms are useful in various ways. It is useful in agriculture, which is our first and foremost requirement, forestry, which is of immense importance, industries, as a bioresources, and as a biodiversity. So taxonomy is helping us in understanding lot many avenues of the natural studies as well as artificial studies. This study of the taxonomy would require correct classification and identification of the organism. That is very essential. Perfect classification and proper identification. These are the essence or essential part of the taxonomy. Identification of organism requires intensive laboratory studies as well as field studies. You are supposed to study in the lab also as well as in the field also, and that is requiring skill, support, instruments as well as the knowledge. The collection of the actual specimen of plant and animal species is essential and is of the prime source of the taxonomic study. Only just based on the description or only just based on the information, we cannot get idea about the taxonomy. We are supposed to go through the original material, original plant, original animal, so that we can get in depth of the subject, in depth of the information about that particular organism. These are the fundamentals to study and essential for the training in this systematics. So, identification, description is ultimately helping us in understanding the systematic study of the nature, or otherwise you can say systematics. It is used for classification of an organism, and the information gathered is also stored with the specimen so that description or that information can be further utilized by other people. In some cases, the specimen is preserved for the future studies, like microorganism. Every time we may not get the particular microorganism from each and every place, so we have to preserve it for the future studies. Biologists have established certain procedure, certain techniques to store, to preserve the information as well as specimen, so that in future other people, other person or other researcher can study it very well, and that can be used as a reference. Some of this are explained here in our textbook, that is helping us in understanding the study and use of the taxonomical aids. These are called taxonomical aids, which is helping us in understanding taxonomy or understanding this systematics, whatever you say. And few of them are herbarium, botanical gardens, museums. So here it is biological museum, not the regular museum, but still so many museums are there where biological material are preserved. Zoological park is very important, and lastly key as well as certain other things are there which we are going to study. Let me begin with the herbarium. Herbarium is a storehouse of collected plant specimens that are dried, pressed and preserved on paper sheet. See, here n number of plants, whichever is possible, whatever is belongs to particular group, is collected so that it can be used for reference, and that is stored or preserved with the help of certain procedure, drying and pressing. We will go through it. Herbarium sheets are arranged in such a way that it is classified in a particular way so that it will be easy to recollect or regain, and the particular classification system which is used generally, that can be of Bentham and Hooker or Angler and Prandtl, and sometime of Hutchinson, but generally Bentham and Hooker's classification system is accepted very well for the arrangement of the herbarium sheets in the herbarium. This specimen belongs to particular group or particular plant. That species is with the proper description on the herbarium sheet, and it becomes the storehouse or it becomes the repository which can be used for further reference or which can be used in future. Herbarium sheet is carrying the label which is providing certain information, and that information is very important. The information like date and place of the collection, name in the English, local name, scientific name, of course, botanical name, family, collector's name, and sometimes some other information is also included, like from which height it is collected, which place it is collected, habitat, whatever the information is requiring, we are supposed to put it there. Herbarium is serving as the quick referral system for the taxonomical studies, and it is very essential for the plant systematics, or you can say plant taxonomy. Botanical gardens are of the very importance. The specialized garden which is having collection of living plants for the reference. Here it is not dried and pressed, but here the real plant is existing. Plant species in this particular garden differing from the normal garden. In the botanical garden, it is grown for the identification purpose, and that's why this plant specimens are labeled, that is indicating their botanical name, their scientific name, their family, and some information if it is required. Nowadays it is with the QR scanning code, so that you can get the information in detail in your mobile or in your electronic devices. The famous botanical garden worldwide is one of the Royal Botanical Garden Kew, commonly known as Kew Botanical Garden, that is existing in the Kew city, belongs to England. In India, the Indian Botanical Garden which is there in the Howrah, that is world famous because of the great banyan tree. It was the previous name Indian Botanical Garden, or you can say short name, but the real name is Acharya Jagdish Chandra Bose Indian Botanical Garden, Kolkata, and the location is Shivpur, Howrah, West Bengal, India. The great banyan tree is really world famous, having Guinness Book World Record, and it is having so many prop roots that it is largely distributed, extremely beautiful, and once a nice place to visit. You can have a glimpse of great banyan tree here. The another interesting things to say is the flora and fauna in the Indian Botanical Garden, which is our national asset, you can say. The another famous botanical garden in the northern India is National Botanical Research Institute, Lucknow, and this is commonly known as NBRI. It is also one of the premier institute for the scientific and systematic study of plant resources, and one of the well-known botanical garden. Coming to the next, that is museums. Biological museums are generally set up in the educational institute like a school or like college. Museums have a collection of preserved plant materials as well as animal specimens for the study and reference. Specimens are preserved in container or a jar with the preservative solution. Such kind of solutions are there in such a way that it will not deteriorate, it will not allow to deteriorate this specimen. Sometime we will go through detail of this kind of preservative solutions also. The plants and animal specimens may also be preserved as a dry specimen. It is depending on the species and it is depending on the group how it is to be preserved. There are lot many ways and means. Insects are preserved in the insect box, which is collected. After collecting, it is killed and it is pinned. There is no requirement of highly specialized way to preserve it because it is having chitin in their body. Larger animals like birds or mammals that can be stuffed and preserved, where you can see their morphology very well. Here you can see the specimen which is of elephant. Museums are often having collection of skeleton of the animal. Very large skeleton can be preserved very well, and it is because skeleton is not deteriorating, so it is easy to preserve it, and that is helping us in understanding the anatomy part or the skeletal system of animals. Zoological park is one of the area or one of the place where wild animals are kept in protected condition, protected environment, in a preserved environment. Wild animals are kept in such a way that human is taking care of it. We are taking care of it. We are providing food to them. We are providing shelter. We are taking care of their veterinary aspect also. So here they are under the care, and it is one of the area or one of the purpose of the zoological park is we can understand about their food habits, their behavior, their way of behavior with other animals, with us, and lot many other things can be studied. Animals in zoo are provided as far as possible the condition which is similar to their natural habitats, but ultimately they are put in the cage. That is one of the ground truth reality. Children always love to visit this park and commonly referring as the zoos. Keys. Keys is one of the very important taxonomical aid. Key is useful for identification of organism based on similarity and dissimilarity, or you can say similarity and difference. These key are based on the contrasting characters which is generally in the pair, and that is called as couplet. Now it is always whether it is yes or no, present or absent, whether it is tall or whether it is short. So such kind of contrasting characters are included as a couplet here. Let me take one example. You are having one animal which belongs to chordate, which is having vertebra. So immediately the first question can be, does it is laying eggs? The answer would be either yes or no. There is no in between answer. The moment we came to know whether they are not laying eggs, automatically we assume that it is mammal. It belongs to mammalia. Because mammals, except of the egg laying mammals, rest of the mammals are not laying egg. Now if the another option is there, if yes it is laying egg, then the next question can be, does it have feathers? Because we know feather is one of the identifying character. If yes or no, again the two options are there. If yes, automatically we say the animal will be bird. If no, then again the possibilities of few further queries, like does it have scales? Again the two options, yes or no. Now the moment we say it is not having scales, it would be amphibians. We know very well frogs are not having scales. So If yes, then again the question would be, does it lay the eggs on land? Answer is either yes or no. If yes, then they are reptiles. If no, then they are fish. So, this kind of yes or no kind of choice, which is helping us in identifying and understanding about the identification or a proper specific species name or genus name or particular taxa. And this is key system, which is always opposite one and helping us in understanding the biological systematics. The rule of acceptance is only one and rejection of other. We cannot have both the things, like they are having eggs and they are not having eggs. We cannot say either or, we have to choose. And the moment we are choosing one option, again another option will be opened, and that would be again having like yes or no, either or option, like does it is having feather or not. It is based on the previous identification or the previous option. We can proceed in such a way that we can be specific to the particular identified organism. So here is a system where key is used for identification. The separate taxonomy key is always there for a taxonomic category, like for the family, for the genus, for the species. And within the family, again taxonomic key is there for the genus. Within the genus, again there is a taxonomic key for the species. So it is always there for identification purpose, and it is separate for each and every taxa. Key is generally analytical in nature, so that there will not be amalgamation of the mixing of the characteristics. Certain other taxonomic aids are there, which is helping us in understanding the taxonomy, like flora, manuals, monograph, catalogs, and some other means of the description. Let me go through the important one, that is flora. Flora is helping us in correct identification of organism, to be precise plant flora. Flora contain the actual amount of habit and distribution of plant of the given area. It provide the index of the plant species in the particular area, like here the flora of particular southern Indian state or particular area is shown in the photograph. Flora can be of particular ecological region also, like flora of Indian desert. Here the exemplified example is there. It can be of particular state also, like flora of Gujarat, flora of Kerala, and for the entire country there is flora of India. It can be of particular group also, like grass flora, like a particular flora of particular area. So flora is helping us in listing and identifying the plants. Manuals. Manuals are useful in providing information and identification of the name of the species found in particular area. It is not restricted to the plants only, because it can be for the animals also. Manuals providing information about plants as well as animals, like here the manual of the dangerous insect. It can be a particular group, it can be with particular phenomenon. The manual of fruit insects can be useful in the study of the plant pathology, so or fruit and insect relationship. So manual is the one which is providing information for identification and naming of the species, because it is having detailed description. Monograph. Monograph is the one which is giving detail about only one taxon. It is not describing about particular area, it is not describing about particular group, but it is complete detail about one particular taxon. Monograph of selected medicinal plant by WHO, World Health Organization, is one of the best example of the monograph. Monograph of particular plant can be there, which is giving detail of the particular plant, and that detail is there in such a way that you can get almost all the information about that particular plant. Here we can see about the tulip. It is given complete detail, morphology, their embryology, their distribution, their chemistry, even the photograph is also there. And nowadays the genome is also included in the monograph of the particular plant. So monograph is helping us in understanding detail of the one particular taxon. The last part, that is catalog. Catalog is the one where the list of the particular group of organism like a plant or like animal can be there. Catalog is a kind of listing. It is not having much detail about particular organism. So with this we conclude about this chapter, and here the chapter is finished. Next we will move to the second chapter of the biology of standard 11. Till that, thank you very much. Dhanyavad, Abhar, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.